From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 22nd, 2018. Israel officially acknowledged yesterday that it destroyed a nuclear reactor in Syria over 10 years ago. Up until now, the mission was kept secret and the media was blocked from publishing anything about it. But yesterday, the IDF military censor cleared the story for publication, releasing information, photos, and video of what was referred to as Operation Orchard. Just before midnight on September the 5th of 2007, 4 F-15s and 4 F-16s entered Syrian airspace via Turkey and dropped about 17 tons of bombs on the Syrian facility, destroying it. The IDF called the mission a key operation to de-escalate conflict in the region. They also shared video of IDF Chief of Staff Gadi Eisenkot speaking about the mission. In it, Eisenkot reaffirms the message of 2007 and the message that remains true today, that Israel will not tolerate developing abilities that threaten its existence. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said of the now publicized operation, the government of Israel, the IDF, and the Mossad prevented Syria from developing a nuclear capability. For this, they are deserving of all praise. And staying with the Prime Minister, Netanyahu welcomed the President of Bulgaria to Jerusalem today. At a joint press conference, Netanyahu, while noting there were dark days in Bulgaria's past as well, thanked Rumen Radev for his country's courageous and moral stand against the Nazi deportations of Bulgaria's Jews during the Holocaust and for standing up against anti-Semitism now.
The past we'll never forget that 75 years ago, the people of Bulgaria in Sofia stood up in an exemplary way against the Nazi demands for deportation. The clerics, the teachers, the intellectuals who came to the train station in Sofia. And I was always impressed by the telegram of the German representative who said to Berlin, explaining the failure of this deportation effect, he said the people of Bulgaria haven't developed enough. And in fact, it showed the moral heights that Bulgaria reached in those days.
Radev, in his remarks, called those heroic efforts by the people of Bulgaria a solid foundation on which to build Israel and Bulgaria's current bilateral ties. The two leaders met and discussed advancing bilateral cooperation in the areas of technology, innovation, and trade, as well as regional threats. A Palestinian man said to have been the main suspect in the attempted assassination of Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah last week has been killed. If you recall, Hamdallah was traveling in a convoy to visit Gaza when it was bombed. Several Palestinian security guards were hurt. Hamdallah was unharmed. This morning, terror group Hamas raided a refugee camp in Gaza after it announced that it had identified Anas Abu Qussa as the main suspect in the bombing. 2 Hamas members who were part of the raid were also killed in the shootout. 2 other suspects were arrested, whom Hamas says are members of an extremist global terror group called Salafia Jihadiyya. The mass joint military exercise of the U.S. military and the IDF in Israel concluded yesterday. Juniper Cobra included side-by-side training in aerial defense and ground forces, collaboration on missile defense, and emergency medical training, among other areas. 2,000 American soldiers came to Israel for the joint drill, which ran for 3 weeks and included simulations of a number of possible war scenarios. The IDF said the exercise, which has been held every 2 years since 2001, is indicative of the unbreakable bond and consistent cooperation between the two countries. Well, Tel Aviv University is partnering with Stanford University and the University of California at Berkeley to advance breakthroughs in medical and information technology. The $10 million initiative is funded by the San Francisco-based Corette Foundation. Corette President Dr. Anita Friedman said that her organization is tremendously excited to support research collaboration between leading faculty that will have practical implications for all of us around the world. And Israel and Canada are joining forces to help wounded Israeli veterans, in particular those who suffer from post-traumatic stress, as well as their families. Wounded Warriors Canada, which is a national mental health charity, has partnered with Natal, Israel's leading trauma center for victims of terrorism and war. The Canadians are in Israel this week training the Israelis in a unique couples-based program. Wounded Warriors Executive Director Scott Maxwell called the trip a historic moment and said, "We look forward to working with Natal and their team of clinicians to deliver this world-class couples-based program to support Israeli veterans, first responders, and their families who are struggling with the effects of terror and war in Israel." And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, March the 22nd, we remember the late Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin, who died on March the 9th of 1992. First at 7:30 with Eye on Israel, then at 8 with Senior Vice President of Shalem College in Jerusalem, Daniel Gordis, who talks about the contribution the late leader made to the State of Israel, detailed in his book, Menachem Begin, The Battle for Israel's Soul. At 9, a tribute to Begin with an overview of his life and accomplishments on L'chaim. Then at 10 tonight, Jewish authors Dara Horn and Ruby Namdar talk about the Jewish cultural themes of their novels with Sandy Borowski of the Jewish Week, in a program of the Jewish Week from the Museum of Jewish Heritage in New York City. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's the Debka File. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 22nd, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.